Okay,
All right.
so next, do you want to talk about Captain America or the X-Men movie that's coming up next year?
Well, I guess the X-Men movie would, I guess, the transition over.
Okay, you can start it this time.
Well, the X-Men First Class. When I first heard about X-Men First Class, I was like, oh, okay, it's another prequel, whatever. Uh, and then I started getting into this new stuff about it might take place in the '60s, and that really kind of intrigued me because that has a chance to, maybe have some interesting kind of uh, allegories that they had in the '60s of, because the X-Men were supposed to represent, black people and people that were segregated against, like, well, probably not Jews at the time, but gay people, people that feel alone in life, and I really, I think there's a chance to add that in. But then they started adding in all these miscellaneous characters that I don't know about, so I was kind of just lukewarm again.
Well, that's the thing I'm kind of like on the X-Men is that I like miscellaneous characters. That's the one thing they're good at. But the one thing I hate about this movie is that there's actually a first class and we're not getting that. We're getting
Yes.
we're getting like none of them and I'm like pretty much I think we might be getting Beast and I'm like why? I mean, I understand that you put yourself in a corner and that's my biggest problem is they're doing first class now but they've already pinned themselves in a corner. It'd be like saying that Batman doesn't have a Robin, it would be like having a movie, having Dick Grayson die, and then still having a Robin, and it being some other kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Fans would get mad
Uh,
about
uh, yes, like I think the thing about this is like I like some of the characters. Like Havoc's going to be in it. I like Havoc. Who else is going to be in it? The guy who's James McCoy. Yeah, I don't know what his name is. He's going to be Professor X. I don't think he's especially good for Professor X. I still have to see footage. I like him as an actor. I mean, the X-Men that are actually going to be in it, I'm interested to see. Like Havoc is just a beautiful character just put on screen because his powers are so visual. Like they're really just like lighting up your hands and stuff like
but
that. And I think
how are they gonna have Cyclops' brother without having Cyclops?
they said Cyclops is going to have a cameo or something. I don't know.
Uh, because I kind of find that funny because this is one topic I actually do know a lot about Spider-Man and I do know a lot about I do know a lot about Batman, but not as much. But I do know a lot about the X-Men, mainly from the cartoons and other media. But at least I've been able to check to see which information is true, and I do know a lot through other means because that's how I got into comics is actually the TV shows, not necessarily the comics themselves. I do
So
read
you're going to
comics.
be the expert.
Yeah.
Yeah? No, I
Oh, so
said you're
I'm
going to
going to
be
be
the
the
expert then.
X-Men expert.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I read X-Men casually, but I'm not an X-Men fanatic, so.
Yeah, I'm not a fanatic, but like I mean, my biggest problem is X-Men has so many good stories and they're not doing them.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like they have so many good villains, which yet again it has the Superman effect where they think Magneto is the only villain they have, and actually that was one thing I thought I was gonna get when I did my when I did my top 10 X-Men list. Is I had to make sure people understand that. Like I was talking to my friend and I was telling him my list, and he was like, "Magneto's a bad guy," and I'm like, "Did you know Magneto is a co-founder?"
Yeah, and currently he's helping the X-Men. He's like part of
Yeah.
the Institute now or
Well,
something.
he's helped them, but to the best of my knowledge, he actually helped. He was one of the founders of the school. So thus, even though he might have been a founder for 10 minutes, he's still a
Yes.
founder. He
Yeah,
still
that's true.
started the school.
And he helped build the Cerebro, or yeah, Cerebro.
Yeah. So
At least in
thus,
the X-Men.
it'd be like saying Batman's not part of the JLA. Well, he is. Yeah. So it's this whole thing that I don't know. Like he he's and I see actually the thing I find, and I do want to talk about this for a minute, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
is I find Magneto fascinating because he's really not a bad guy. And do you know what I mean
Yeah.
by that?
Yeah, yeah, like I hate it when they especially in they do this a lot in Ultimate X-Men, but I guess I'm willing to find it. Is that Magneto's just straight up a villain in the Ultimate Universe. I think that Magneto is misunderstood. I think that, if your people are being, persecuted by people, getting broken into you, and your people are getting hurt and stuff like that, I'd get ticked off and try to, rise up against people.
Well, my local comic book owner, the guy that owns, or my local comic book shop, the guy who owns the shop, I talk to him a lot, and he knows so much about comics. And we actually got this topic before about Magneto, and he told me that basically he told me this. He is actually on the side of Magneto, because if you look at it, mutants are the next evolutionary path. So thus that means that essentially humans are meant to die off. And so Magneto is just doing the normal course of action, because if you think about it, what came before us, the chromelet men, are no longer here. So we rose against them and destroyed them, and now mutants are doing the exact same thing they're supposed to, and essentially Professor Xavier is doing what he's not supposed to do. He's not supposed to be saving humans. So I find that fascinating if you look at it that way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because there's been often times where they call them Homo superior, and I know there's some story. I don't know if it's in the comics or in a movie where they say that the mutants aren't actually a step above humans. I think they said they're just a mutation, and I don't like that idea at all. I like the idea that because before I read comics, I didn't know why mutants just popped up. I was like, oh, they were just born with it. That's not a good excuse. But the idea of them being one step above humans has always been really interesting.
Yeah, and I always found that interesting. I always found that interesting, but I find mutants interesting for one very big reason, is because they're not all perfect. I mean, like, you get these characters that are like Batman, for instance, that is perfect. Like, he can't do anything wrong, essentially, because like he's so strong, he's so fast. And then you have characters like Beast and Nightcrawler. Or Nightcrawler, for a good example. Nightcrawler is not this evil character. He's probably the most noble of all of the X-Men characters, but people think he's a demon.
Yeah.
And I find that so interesting, because he is not a bad person, and he's been persecuted because he looks like a demon, but he's really this holy person who's trying to do the right thing. And that shows much character when you can do the right thing when people are scoffing in your face. And I don't feel bad for Magneto that he can't do that, because if people were trying to tell me I should go away, die, because I happen to have 3 arms,
yeah,
I would be mad. Would you?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I can relate more to Nightcrawler. I mean, Nightcrawler is one of my favorite X-Men, but I think I can relate more because well, Beast is a completely different thing. Beast mutated. He used to have big hands and big feet, and then he mutated into like this big cat-like thing.
Yeah, I thought about that first, but I thought about that. That's why I went to Nightcrawler.
Yeah. I mean, either way, having big hands and big feet, people are going to make fun of you either way. They might not think you're a mutant, but when I'm riding the bus, when I was younger, people used to make fun of the kids in those little white buses who had mental issues and then were, touching the bus windows and everything. And I felt bad because, they didn't choose to make themselves look like that. And it's almost, kind of like the same thing.
Well, as a gamer, I've actually went through one thing, and I don't know if you ever went through this, but did you ever play the Pokemon games?
Yeah. I mean, I never owned them, but I played them at my friend's house, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I had a friend when I went into high school. I graduated like 8 years ago, so just to kind of give a reference to how long ago I was in high school. And so the new Pokemon games had come out. I think I was a junior, and my one of my friends who got me into Pokemon finally went into high school. So in one of our classes that we had together, I was talking to him, and I was like, "Hey, did you play the new Pokemon games?" And he was telling me to shut up. I don't play Pokemon. Pokemon's stupid. And then when class ended, he took me off to a corner and he said, "Yeah, I still play them, but don't tell anybody." And I always find this very funny, is that I was always the open, like, I was kind of like, I was always the open gamer in school because I never cared what people said because I liked gaming. And I find it funny that now gamers are popular and it's a popular thing to game. And I've actually had people come up to me and tell me, "Oh, you're only gaming because the popular people are gaming." And I'm like, yes, I was gaming when I was 2. That means that I've been gaming because other people are gaming. No, you're an idiot. Go shut up.
Yeah.
go die in another room because I've been gaming a lot longer than you, and the popular kids should think I'm more popular because I did it before it was popular.
Yeah.
And I find that...
Well, I mean...
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always find that funny that when a popular person does something, you're not
You're copying that.
you're not popular. You're just copying them.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot with me in comics. You know, I go to school, I'm like, hey, I'll be like, because I go to the library a lot, and I usually just take out comics and read them. I'll bring them to school, and I'll just, like, read them in between classes or whatever. And people will look at me, and they're like, why are you carrying that around? And when I was, younger, I usually say, because I like them. Now I usually come up with them, like, some stupid excuse, like, they keep my mind active, or they keep me from becoming dumb, or something like that, just because it kind of annoys me that they're asking me questions like that. Like,
Well, the thing about it is, I don't know, like, I don't see why people are so judgmental. Like, I understand why people are judgmental, but the fact is that I don't make fun of somebody for playing football, and I kind of think sports are ridiculous, but, like, I think you chasing a baseball because somebody threw it is, what are you, a dog now? So, you can put anything on any foot, but the problem is that if you make fun of a jock, you'll have a 9-foot person coming after you. If you make fun of a geek, you have a 5-foot guy with glasses who could give your computer every virus known to man, but in a fist fight, he's not going to do anything, and that's the only reason why jocks do that, I think.
Yeah.
But hey, when that guy gets home, the jock is not using his computer anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Were we talking about X-Men? I completely forgot.
Yeah, no, we were talking about X-Men. Sorry, I got off topic again, but
No, yeah.
I've listened to a lot of chats, and most people do get off topic, so
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I mean,
yeah. Okay,
I mean,
so what X-Men are confirmed? Do you know?
I think Havoc, Emma Frost, Professor Xavier, and Magneto, of course. This guy named Darwin, Nightcrawler's father, who's a demon, Mystique. I'm not sure because Mystique is Nightcrawler's mother, and then they have Nightcrawler's father. Not sure how that's gonna work out. And I don't know. I know there's Beast is obviously confirmed. They said that Cyclops and Wolverine are rumored to make cameos, and that's all I know right now.
Well, Wolverine's my favorite. Is my favorite X-Men character of all time, but I don't want him in this movie at all.
No.
Because I'm under the band camp, and I don't know if you agree with this. I'm under the band camp that we didn't get any X-Men movies. We got 4 Wolverine movies.
Yeah, and then it feels like the first 3 they were like, yeah, they're X-Men movies with Wolverine. The 4th one, it just felt like, yeah, screw it, we're doing a Wolverine movie.
Yeah, but I never felt that they were, because think about it. He's major character in all 3 movies. And I mean, if you think about the first movie, you see the other characters, but Wolverine's the main character. And Rogue, but I mean, essentially Wolverine's the main character. I mean, it's about Wolverine. And I kind of find that very funny. Well, I'm going to stop right now, so we don't mess up again.
Okay.